All right, it is Thursday. It is time for the drop. I'm Ruben Dominguez. This is Quinn Bishop. We are Cactus Music headquarters here in the historic Shepherd area of
the
Houston.
Museum District, sandwiched between Upper Kirby District and
Montrose,
something
but
like
you
that.
don't care about the geography. You're interested in the new music, the new vinyl, the new coolness, and that. For that, I defer to my colleague. Kick us off.
All right, let's kick. I'm going to kick off our
I'm so excited.
Our opening day edition of the drop.
Opening day.
With
Happy baseball, people.
Great new record. I know that you're crazy about this record. I am too. This is the new record from Boy Genius. And this is Phoebe Bridgers,
Lucy Dacus,
and Julianne Baker. This is their first full length. There was an EP, surprise EP. That thing came out and like nobody even really knew it was coming. Terrific record. And I'm telling you, the reviews on this thing out of the gate are insane.
Much anticipated.
And if you're looking for them, they're at the beach.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, nature plays a big part in the genius of these kids. Just incredible stuff, I mean, and what the past 2 years, has there been anyone hotter than what do we call it indie world anymore? I mean, I don't even know what you call it. I mean, Phoebe Bridgers is.
These are three of the most important songstresses of the
but especially for Phoebe, coming out of the pandemic has been probably the most talked about, sought after to feature on or collab with you or appear on your album
and just talked about just her profile is huge and
deserves all the accolades because
terrific singer and signature voice. You hear her sing, exactly who it is.
Yes, incredible lyricist, and and it's not an accident that these three artists are together because they all bring an incredible amount of firepower to the table.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you,
I got tickets to the show.
A lot of these projects, sometimes the artists, they'll hold back, they'll pull a punch, they'll save some best material for their record. I honestly think these three artists are such strong writers and emerging artists that they they all came with their best stuff.
Yeah, they're we're going to write some more stuff Tuesday. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
And like I was saying, the reviews are crazy. So the NME, which is like one of the toughest, tough to get a great review from them, gave it 5 stars. Wow. And there's multiple 5-star records out there. Their review was the instant classic we were hoping for.
Jeez.
Yeah.
High praise
from
New Musical Express. I love it. Let's go. Hey, what do we got?
But wait,
there's more.
There's a brand new, and I think this was a surprise release too. There's a brand new, the song was available online, collaboration between the great Andrew Bird and Phoebe Bridgers. This is I Felt a Funeral in My Brain. This is finally crawled out of the digital realm and it's now on a vinyl 7-inch.
Super cool.
And this was a song inspired by a Emily Dickinson poem that he had heard, and he just thought Phoebe should sing it, sent her the demo. They worked this out, and
we're good.
Yeah, it's terrific. Great track. So if you're a Phoebe fan, not only do you get a Boy Genius record, but we have a bunch of these super limited 7 inches.
I love that.
And
it's been a minute since we've heard some Andrew Bird, right? It feels like.
He had a record last year. I think he's just kind of settling into he's got a very loyal fan base, and that's kind of what he does.
Right.
But terrific whistler.
I was about to say.
He is a crazy whistler.
A lot, but that's
whistles
good.
A lot.
We like hearing whistlers.
Okay, we're leading with the ladies here at the no slight to Andrew Bird's maleness, but we get a lot of women power at the front of the drop here.
Yes.
And there's a brand new Pornographers record. This is called Continue as a Guest. And this is band leader's AC Newman, but Nico Case plays a big part in this group. The single is really terrific.
There's another female.
Yes.
Catherine.
Catherine or Kathleen?
Kathleen. Yes, I should know this. And I
don't.
This is really good.
Yeah, it's great. I got
a chance to go through about 4 or 5 of the songs. They just turned up in one of my favorite little I follow the Amoeba channel, so they just did What's in My Bag.
Sweet.
Where are my notes? Really groovy rock-ish pop, really good pop hooks. I love the harmonies on here. Formed in 1997 in Vancouver, British Columbia, one of my favorite cities in the world to visit.
There you go.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Vancouver?
I have not. I've only been to Canada a few times.
It's amazing. It's so sweet. It's beautiful. I'd move there in a heartbeat. Anyway. Oh, and of course, I had to listen to the song "Falling Down the Stairs of Your Love," because falling down the stairs, not so much love, but falling down the stairs is something that I can really identify with.
You can relate to that?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, how was the song?
Fantastic.
Special.
Yeah, a lot easier to listen to than when I actually fell down the stairs. So, yeah,
man.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a long story.
So, and New Pornographers are going to be here. They're playing in Houston on 4/22, which happens to be Record Store Day. We tried to get them here.
I was about to say, when you said here, I was like, come on.
Couldn't swing it. We're working on it. They've got.
They're busy.
Their schedule does not allow for an excellent Record Store Day.
Right.
But that's okay. Check out the record.
That's right.
Okay. Melanie Martinez, the woman that broke Cactus last week with I don't even know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fans. This record's finally out today. This is Portal's she's incredibly loyal fan base. This is her first record after a 4-year break. She kind of has this futuristic alter ego on this record. I kind of can't figure out what the storyline is from just listening to the first track, but
the visual and the theatrics may remind you a little of a Bjork or something.
Bjork on there.
That kind of performance.
Just kind of get this little girl thing going on.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
So tell everybody, because if they don't know, this is the first time you've seen one of our episodes of The Drop. So here at Cactus, you guys have been doing listening parties.
Global listening parties where, it's the first time you can hear the album. Because there's only been one song from this record that you could listen to up until this point. So we did a global listening party for her. Hundreds of fans congregated at Cactus to hear the album in its entirety for the first time. Totally free. Lots of fun. And we have more of them coming up. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
The whole thing is the artist has to announce it first.
Exactly.
I can't be telling you.
Right.
The artist is.
But we'll talk about it on our humble little show.
When we can, we will inform you.
Yes, we will.
All right, we're going to kick it over to some rootsy Americana dudes right now. This is Simple Things, the new album from Band of Heathens, and I'll hold this closer since there's not a whole lot to. But you know what? That cover. Do you recognize what's happening with this cover here?
I don't.
Check it out. Turn it over. Wait. No.
It's embossed.
It's embossed.
It took me. I was trying to figure out the symbols, but I was like, no, I'm overthinking it. It's easier than that.
So this is a band really kind of led by the duo of Gordy Quist and Ed Jurdy, who are great singers.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, this band's been around for the better part of 20 years now, which is surprising to me. Gordy came out of Houston, and I mean, I really like the way those guys sing together. It's really got almost kind of like a Waylon and Willie kind of thing.
Yep.
Very relatable. If you like, your Texas, you're looking for somebody that you may have missed. That's Texas rootsy music, good beer drinking music. I don't know if it was their first album. It was about 10 years ago, and just out of the blue, the label said, "Hey, Band of Heathens playing Houston. Would you like to interview the band?" Sure. And they just showed up, all four of them, with an acoustic guitar, and walked in. We sat them down, and they played a couple of songs. And we just talked and recorded. They're
the whole
great
thing.
Guys.
They were the coolest guys, and I think they all prominent or well known in the Austin scene as their own, on their own, either as solo artists or in a band. And they kept running into each other either on bills or maybe a songwriter night or whatever. Like, why don't the four of us just do something? And there
good thing they did, because I think they're really on.
Yeah, they write very good songs. I like them.
Next up, one of my personal favorite artists, Peter Case from the Nerves and the Plimsolls.
Mm-hmm.
He has this new record called Dr. Moan. This record is significant because this is his first record where he's really worked. He's an incredibly great guitar player, but this is all based around the piano with just a few guests and a lot of folk
bass,
and,
a little bit of Hammond B3 here and there.
And it's all rooted in the blues and folk, which, he's from San Francisco, and as a teenager, he was one of those guys that would busk on the streets in San Francisco.
Just little moments in his voice, and I've heard obviously his prior material and Plimsolls obviously from the 80s, but I just closed my eyes and I had a feeling it's just kind of a dive bar Billy Joel in some moments, and not to say that in a bad way, but there's just little moments where I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I'm real curious. It's really good, man. It's really good. I didn't know what to expect on this.
He makes terrific records. I'm expecting it to be very good, and hopefully we'll get him back for another Cactus in store.
Well done, Peter Case. Love this.
All right, enthusiastic recommendations here on The Drop. Notes are. We got.
Hopefully, I can
notes.
read them.
Dom Flemons, Traveling Wildflowers are Fire. Traveling Wildfire. It's our next record. For those that don't know, he was from the Carolina Chocolate Drops. He is just one of the most astute musicians in old-timey music.
Historian, self-proclaimed historian of classic American music.
And this is the only person I think you can say that we're going to mention today in the drop that is comfortable and well versed in 100 years of American music and can play a bunch of it.
Yeah,
he plays pretty much any stringed instruments and then a bunch of kind of arcane percussion, etc. instruments that have really kind of fallen by the wayside. His records are a joy to listen to, and he's appropriately on a Smithsonian Folkways label.
Kind of I don't know, if you would have caught, back when you had these kind of troubadours going from little bar to bar, or even as far back as like some Woody Guthrie kind of just
absolutely,
you know what I mean. And if you're not familiar with Carolina Chocolate Drops, I guess if you had to classify bluegrass in because everybody in that band could play. That's
in there. I think it would probably
not straight up bluegrass, but
early American music.
Yeah.
And Rhianna Giddens, singer in that group, obviously amazing.
When the first time I heard them, I just they were mentioned in some interview. I want to say with Chris from Nickel Creek. Chris Thiele mentioned them, or they were in the documentary with him about American music. I think that's the first time I saw him, and I was like, wow.
I was aware of him, and then I'd read an interview with Elvis Costello, and he was going on about him. I'm like,
check him out.
Hear this, and super great and fun live. I hope that he comes to Houston. He generally will play fine arts halls where it's underwritten, because it's almost more educational than equal parts educational and just
going to a show.
And now for something completely different, we have the Nude Party, and I will caution you, if you're curious about this band, you might want to add the word like band or music when searching Nude Party online.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
So these guys,
or the new Pornographers.
Yeah, totally. So these guys are on the New West label. I mean, great live band, very kind of groovy, fun. At times remind me of, it's kind of hippie like, but it's and sometimes kind of My Morning Jacket, but it's very southern. They're a cool band, very fun, and they're coming to town here. They're playing on May 5th.
A couple of songs on here. For me, this is my first time listening to them, my first time discovering this band. So I'm always excited when I get the list when it is released. Quinn will send the list out, and I'll start diving into some of the artists. A couple of songs on here, and again, for just a moment, especially in the lead vocalist, he's got reminds me, just for not the whole thing, but it just reminds, there are moments where I hear a little Lou Reed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think the band to me sounded like maybe if the Velvets would have been happier.
That's exactly, I had the same exact take on it, because it's got like that kind of chugging, strummy,
and he's just almost speaking in some parts,
but it's real upbeat.
It's real upbeat. Yeah, you're not. Yeah.
It's party music. Velvet Underground, if they were,
just a little happier,
ready to party.
Yeah,
that's good. Happier. That's funny. We had the same take on it. I love that. Next up, we have the Kalela. This album is called Raven, and this record is really blowing up right now.
This is all you, man, because I have nothing on this.
This came out a couple of weeks ago, and man, it is just off to the races. So, one of the funnest things we do on the drop is introduce you to great artists that maybe haven't caught your attention yet. This is her first record. This is only her second album. Her debut came out in 2017.
Really cool.
And this is an interesting record because it is, I guess you could call it R&B. It's like way out there R&B. At times it is electronic and bouncy and super pumping. And then, man, it goes to this chill ambient, like just takes it as low and slow as possible. Amazing voice. Very, very cool. Listen, urge you to check it out. And don't just stream like one track and go, I don't like that.
No, right. You have to, it's the whole thing.
There's more dynamics
go start to finish
on this record than probably anything else we'll talk about today.
Love that. It's a cool one.
Yeah, the cover's cool too.
I love it. That's a cool one.
That's on LP too. We were just sold out of the LP. Okay. Hey, we're going to end the new release section by talking about like one of the great musicians to come out of Houston, Texas, that may not be a household name, but the great Kendrick Scott on the Blue Note label. Amazing drummer, a drummer that has played with just about everybody. He's played with the Jazz Crusaders and Pat Metheny and Terrence Blanchard and Joe Lovano and Kenny Garrett and James Moody, Robert Glasper, Charles Lloyd. But he is one of the greatest living drummers right now. And straight out of Houston, Texas. He's also as much of an educator as he is a musician.
Love it.
And went straight from HSPVA to Berklee School of Music. And man, people are just, I'm sure his phone is ringing off the wall to get him to play on his records. And his records are very cool as well. New one is Corridors. We felt completely honored. Our good friend Andrew Dansby did an interview with him. And he was like, let's just do it at Cactus.
Oh, man.
And
nice.
so they did the interview here at the store for the Chronicle feature that ran. And but you got to check this guy out if you are a drummer even.
Featuring Ruben Rogers and Walter Smith III on here for folks who are interested. And Kendrick produced it himself.
Yeah, of course, because he's a Superman. It's funny. I used to refer to.
I got to check him out.
When we were going to talk about this, I had always referred to him as like, oh man, he's like one of the young jazz guys. Like, oh, he's like 43 now, so I can't really do that anymore. But
in jazz, that's still young.
It's still young.
I think you
for
can.
Sure,
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
only half of his career.
Okay, and we don't do too many of these on the drop, but we're going to couple a new album review with a concert review. This is the new record from the Zombies. This is Different Game. I saw these guys last week at House of Blues. It was incredible. I've seen them 4 times since they really kind of started touring as the Zombies again.
Did not know this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
did you tell? No, you didn't tell me that. This is new information.
This is new information.
This is new. I just saw I saw a something on social media about touring. It was the House of Blues show.
Yeah.
And I was like, the Zombies, really? I mean, are there original members?
So what you have is their singer Colin Blunstone, who's one of the greatest vocalists of the British Invasion era, and then Rod Argent, who's one of the best pianists in all of rock music. They're kind of an anomaly in that they were a piano-driven band, and I think that's one of the reasons why their profile wasn't as great as even
Rod Argent, as in Argent,
the
band.
Yeah, that was his band after the Zombies.
Wow.
So, okay. But the reason why their profile wasn't as big as like the Kinks or even certainly the Beatles or Stones or who, is that you never really heard people cover their music because nobody can play the middle eight and the solo on all that. You'd have to leave it up because nobody can play what Rod plays on these
they're
records.
Like, we're not going to tackle that.
Great harmonies. They've had the same band touring with the same reunion band for like 20 years. I mean, as far as British Invasion groups that are still on the road that are still doing it, they're the absolute top.
Wow. Okay.
It was a great show.
And having to get your Sprinter van towed in the middle of nowhere is probably the reality of anybody that's ever said, let's go on tour.
Anybody that's
even if it's just a little 2-week little jaunt, let me tell you,
it could happen.
You're gonna get something towed.
Yeah, so this is, I think, their 5th album of new music, and man, it stands with their classic work. So check it out.
It's your job to tell me if they come again, and I'm going with you because I want to see this live.
So they're celebrating their 60th anniversary of the band. They screened there's a documentary that was shown at South by Southwest, and that's kind of why they were. All right,
here's the deal. So if you're a rock band and you've been together for 60 years and you're touring, outside of the hardcore fans, I think there's this like, why are those old farts doing that? If you're a jazz or blues band, it's no big deal. People are coming to see you.
Yeah. Oh, they're like tripping over themselves.
Right. But if you're like a rock band, people are like, what?
I think it's because that pop element. It's hard to stay. It's hard to.
I don't know what it is, man.
Hard to stay relevant. Okay, we got
do it
finally on vinyl piece, and I had to break this one out just because this artist is so white hot right now. This is Omar Apollo. And, so he's had a bestseller for us for months and months and months with the Apollino album, which is the Purple record. But that's really actually was a mixtape. This is his debut album, came out last year. And, I mean, this guy's going to be one of the guys to watch. This guy's going to sell millions and millions of records. Fans love him. He really connects with people. He's another one of the artists that really kind of launched on SoundCloud, and I made a note because I thought the story was so great. When we first started,
you do a better job keeping track of those guys than I do.
Well, I have to check up on it too because they all seem to kind of come out of nowhere because it all starts in digital, and then before we get CDs or LPs.
Right.
But I love this story.
Go.
While working at Jimmy John's and Guitar Center, using $30 he borrowed from a friend, he uploaded his song "Hugo Time" to Spotify, and it got picked up by the Fresh Finds, and immediately started getting streamed like 20,000 a day, and then ended up with like 15 million streams before
fantastic.
too long.
That's fantastic.
But this is his debut album, finally on vinyl. So, check it out.
I love it.
Cool artist that you will be hearing much more about for those of you that aren't in the know.
So we were just talking about older bands touring and whatever. So I saw this.
No.
And it's two bands that older fans will know. But by looking at the picture, I couldn't tell which band was which. So it said 38 Special and Loverboy. So you tell me who's Loverboy and who's 38 Special. I have no idea.
I don't know.
If it's by billing, that's 38 Special, right?
Yes.
But I mean, you take a moment and go, what am I looking at?
I haven't seen photos of this guy's in like 25 years. So
Whatever.
it might be Overboy.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? Once again, I'm derailing the program.
Oh, that's okay.
All right, good.
In a non-music new release, we have this. This is our Cactus music coloring book. We've seen other stores around
amazing.
this doing the country.
I love this.
Our amazing employee Misa put this together. She did. So you got some classic album illustrations.
And I'll give Misa another little shout out. She does a great job on social as well.
Yeah,
and
she really does.
She really pumps this.
So we're thrilled to put this out there. And what we're going to do.
Do you know this is one of the fastest growing genres in publishing?
Oh, I know. Coloring books are great. So we're trying to think of a way that we've long been supporters of Pup Squad Animal Rescue.
Right.
And so we've seen other stores do this around the country. So we wanted to have a coloring book, and that we will rotate it's strictly for charity. All the money generated goes to charity, and we will rotate who it's going to. But we're going to kick it off with Pup Squad because we've had a great relationship with them, and they're $5 a piece.
Good for you, man.
And all that money goes straight to help people like you foster animals that might get destroyed otherwise. So come by and pick one up, buy one for kids, buy a bunch of them. All that money's going to charity.
I applaud you, my friend.
Thank you.
And the whole Cactus crew for that.
We're trying our best out there.
Well done.
Okay, the reissue, the very popular reissue part of our program.
If it's what I think it is, this is big.
It's devoted to hip hop records today, and we have some big hip hop records.
Oh yeah.
So this is KMD. This is actually MF Doom, and this was the second record that he had done after. So KMFD. I'm sorry, KMD.
Not KMFDM.
Yeah,
this is
two different things
different
completely.
Thing. Don't be fooled, kids.
So they made one album for a major label and then promptly broke up, and this record was unreleased.
Double album, yeah.
Double album, and well, there's a regular version. This is a version that comes in a deluxe book with a photograph insert and red color vinyl, but there's a regular version as well. So second MF Doom album. It's never been on LP before. Actually, the music's never been available legitimately before, and this album, I think, is it Consequence of Sound said it's the
best rap album you've never heard. That's a quote.
That is
red colored double vinyl. Oh yeah, this is a good one.
And MF Doom is so hot, right? It just keeps growing and growing and growing. His fan base, and so people are always looking for new music. And I think there's going to continue to be mixtapes and things like that coming out. But this is a big one. And the first album was reissued and was a record store piece, and we sold out of that. Can't get that anymore. So, okay, and here's a reissue of the debut. We have a couple of debuts in here, but this is MF Doom's classic debut album, Operation Doomsday, and this is on a limited edition color variant. And it is, what colors we got here? What colors we got, Ruben?
Can you tell?
It's red and gold vinyl. So we'll have to open one and see what it looks like.
That's awesome. What year was this? It's the first album. 99?
Wow.
There you go. On
the Rhymesayers label. And, this every time this record gets reissued, it just sells and sells and sells and sells. Continuing to raise the profile of his great work. Another 10th anniversary and another debut album. This is Mac Miller's Blue Slide Park. And this thing has not been, it was available briefly, but gone immediately. And they're finally reissuing records. And it's got a die cut cover. Check that out. Yeah. It's cool. So you can slide out the inner sleeve and it'll look different. So when this was released in 1995, this was like the only. I'm sorry, not really. This was the only top 10. So it came out 10 years ago. This was the only album to be in the top 10 hip hop album, independently released album to be in the top 10 since 1995.
Wow.
So and he just continues to, sadly after his passing, but Mac Miller continues to be wildly popular and fan base growing. So
Absolutely.
So 3 really compelling,
stuff,
interesting,
man.
and cool hip hop reissues that you can pick up this week in the record stores.
For your collection.
And this is kind of nutty. Usually when you see catalog reissues from artists, it's like you get a record or 2 at a time.
Yeah.
That's
not so, my friend. That is not the case.
That's not what we're working with here.
Look at
These are all different records. This is the Britney Spears catalog.
It's all of Britney
on
Spears.
Vinyl, and you can just get the greatest hits if you want, or you can just start picking them up. And all these are crazy. Of course, who doesn't remember Oops, I Did It Again?
The whole collection.
The whole.
Has this ever all been on vinyl?
Select records like this one was available, I think, as an exclusive with some retailer. But they've done limited, but they haven't been widely available.
Is nuts, man.
There's Young Britney, and of course with the whole Free Britney thing. And
I know at least one crazy fan that right now, if they're watching this, is flipping out.
And I think she was. I mean, I won't say reviled, but she had really kind of a negative. Just when her career kind of stalled out, she wasn't thought of that great, and she just has more goodwill than she ever has.
Right.
And I think, and people are rediscovering her music, so it's the time to grab it. And I forgot our prop. Keep talking.
Do we have a prop? All right, so there you go. All right, Britney fans, that's a big one. But that's why you watch the drop, because you want to know about this crazy stuff, and especially things that surprise you. So I bet you guys didn't know we were going Britney Spears, especially after MF Doom. I don't know what that transition is. Michael Henry, happy Friday Eve, y'all. Happy Friday Eve to y'all. Michael Henry, who's watching. Appreciate the viewers who are checking in. Hit the share button. Keep our little show alive. It helps.
I'm back. Did you miss me?
I did miss you. But I was saying MF Doom to Britney Spears. That's quite the segue.
That's what we do here. We do the whole thing, top to bottom.
Oh, shoot, man. That's so good. All right, here we go. So it's the Vinyl Vault.
Yeah, we pick a great record, some that you would have no idea about, and some you should know about that is an obvious classic. Maybe you have it in your collection.
Yeah, so this week was my pick. Were you surprised when I sent you the text?
I was delighted when I saw it.
Tell everybody what it is.
So you have Talking Heads Remain in Light.
Fourth studio album.
Fourth album for the band. A very difficult album for the band, but arguably their finest work.
I remember hearing it for the first time thinking, what is this?
Yeah.
That was a game changer for my little pea brain when I heard it. The last album that Brian Eno worked with the band.
Yeah.
We saw them kind of coming out of their more angular, punky, CBGB, where all those great bands spawned in that New York scene, into Tina Weymouth and Chris Franz dipping into African rhythms and percussions and just this craziness. And then you've got David Byrne's vocals over what is a very funky album at times.
Oh, it is.
But the thing that did it for me, being the guitar nerd, was I had very recently discovered Adrian Belew.
Oh,
and when I found out that it was him making all that crazy soundscape, like if you listen to The Great Curve, that's like one of my favorite solos ever, when he just loses it in the middle of that. And then there's that dive bomb at the end that sounds like, just a very angry elephant.
That's a good way to think about it.
It's crazy. I mean, I can put it on start to finish, and we have MTV, a huge MTV
hit.
video
Once
hit.
in a lifetime.
Once
hit.
in a lifetime, which a lot of people that saw that, never seeing the Talking Heads or knowing nothing about the Talking Heads, had the same reaction that I did. What the hell is that? And why is this accountant standing there singing about,
Well, and I think that, obviously by the time you get to your fourth album, you have a very, and of course the critics love this band. They're viewed as like the future of music. And, but at the same time, the band is fragmenting. They're really kind of collapsing under the weight of the band. David Byrne's control of the band, the other band members resented it. He kind of marginalized their involvement, which is very common for front people. And it kind of, this is a very difficult record for the band to make. They did and David Byrne also had writer's block.
Yeah.
So they had trouble finishing the lyrics. So by the time it gets to Brian Eno, it's just instrumental tracks. And he didn't even want to produce the band.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He does this thing. I mean, Eno is like really an ace at backing away from the band right when he's done everything he can possibly do with them. But he was so impressed with them using like, Fela type percussion and just blending that.
Yeah.
That in the fact that David was trying to figure out the whole New York rap thing and drop that in here, he's like, okay, this is something really, really interesting. This is cool. And he tried to make the record as quickly as possible to the degree that 2 engineers quit while making the records. Like, we're going too fast here. We're not able to really do this as it needs to be done. And, Brian's pushing it through.
Well,
and you're going to love this. Do you know this about the Adrian Belew tracks on here?
I think they brought him in and everything was finished.
It was all finished. He did it all in one session. All of his solos, most were one takes or like one playthrough. Did it all in one short session.
Ask a lot of guitar players, especially a lot of session guys, because thanks to YouTube, I get to spend hours listening to guys like Dan Huff and Tom Bukovac and just talk, and they're like, first take. It's like, it's always going to be your best stuff. Yeah. He goes, if I'm working with an artist, they want me to keep like, hey man, maybe play that solo again. I'll do it, but it's never going to have that. Yeah. It's never going to have that magic dust on it.
Especially
great record. Guys, if you guys do not have this, go get it. And there's not a bad song on here.
No, it's all.
And they're weird.
It's such a unique record.
Yes.
It all hangs together in one thing. There's not another record in their catalog that. Certainly this pointed the way to the future for them, but this is the only record that they have that sounds like this, and it's the only record by any band that sounds like this.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
You have scratchy, polyrhythmic stuff and James Brown kind of guitar.
And what's the one that it's Belew's doing these things? It sounds like little squeaks. It sounds like somebody's squeezing a little pet toy.
Yeah.
God, what is that? Oh, is it Born Under Punches? No.
I'm terrible with matching song titles and
I'm not going to get it. Whatever. If I heard it. All right, there you go. So next week, this guy gets the vinyl vault. And believe me, it's going to be something that not only have you never heard of it, but you're going to go, wow, I want to find that and check it out.
And let us, not just your drop recommendation, but this record is also revered as one of the top 50. I think it's way in the top of Rolling Stone's top 500 rock albums ever released. Listen to this record.
It's an incredible record.
It is something.
Real quick, because we're way over. What is the anything coming? What do we need? Record Store Day?
Record Store Day, April 22nd. More about that later.
Make your plans. Follow the Cactus Music social media on Instagram.
We're giving away tickets for your place in line beginning on Saturday. So
gotta have a wristband.
Yeah. Be educated. Help us.
Educated. Everything is orderly. Follow the protocol. And if you see these guys drop a listening party, come on down because it's going to be a good time. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for being here. Peace. Hit the share button.